Hello everyone, this is CoolPro195 and welcome to a very special brand new unboxing video where I'll be opening up this epic package right here. And I've been waiting time for this, and without any further delay, before we get to talking about it, let's open it up. Nice and simple. And here we have it right here, people. The Elgato Game Capture 4K 60 Pro. Elgato's first ever capture card that can record, well, according to the box, capture 4K at 60 frames per second flawlessly. Hang on, I'm trying to get a good angle here, but yeah, and it also has a PCIe interface, which is very decent, and it comes with now the famous instant game view feature. And yeah, it's about fucking time Elgato made a 4K 60 Pro capture card, because it's 2017 and almost 2018, less than a month till 2018 now, so it's about time we had technology like this. It's a good thing they made it as well, because then I easily save myself money by effectively skipping the HD60 Pro, considering I currently own the HD60S right now. But yeah, now I finally have the 4K 60 Pro, and it's about time I receive this. And one thing I'd like to say before I actually get to opening up the package is that I pre-ordered this, but then I ended up getting this like a month late, and this was due to two reasons. The first reason was the fact that the order was delayed in terms of shipping, and then when I got it, I got the wrong item. So then I sent it back and got a replacement, and now I finally have it. And effectively, it took a whole month to get this shit. A whole month just to get a pre-order. That is taking the piss. I mean, for someone who sent the wrong item, they should get fired, because it's common sense to know what you're supposed to be shipping and what you're not supposed to be shipping. Otherwise you're just working at the wrong place, mate. But anyways, now time to open this up. Yeah, they've got labels right here, so I'm just gonna use scissors to open this. Okay, so that's now the labels cut off. Man, they put the edges tight. And before we actually open up, let's showcase the back as well. So yeah, now it just showcases all the features that it has. Ultra high quality, capture your gameplay in immaculate 4K resolution at 60 frames per second. Ultra tech. Power your workflow with superior low latency technology. And ultra content. Record with ease and export to your favorite app, I mean. And then just shows how the Elgato is. And yeah, just like I said, it has a PCIe x4 interface, so it's gonna go into your motherboard. So if you have a laptop, you clearly won't be able to use it. You have to have an actual desktop PC in order to, like, with a motherboard that has compatible connections. So yeah, and then it shows the interface of the Elgato, where you plug your input HDMI slot, your input HDMI cable, and then your output HDMI cable to your TV, essentially. And here are the system requirements right here. It requires Windows 10 64-bit, which, you know, is part of how they actually make this capture card work in terms of software and everything. And it requires a 6th generation Intel Core i7 CPU or equivalent, and an Nvidia GeForce GTX 10 series or equivalent. And as I mentioned before, it either requires a PCIe x4, x8 or x16 slot in order to connect it. to your motherboard. And yeah, and here are all the technical specs right here: input, output, HDMI unencrypted, and HDMI lag-free pass-through, which essentially, and it says up to, and support resolutions up to 2160p at 60 frames per second, which is effectively 4K. And then over here it says it's what it's designed for, or essentially like what consoles you can use to record 4K footage from through HDMI, such as the PS4 Pro and the Xbox One X, and I happen to own both, which is sick as well. And of course you can live stream to Twitch and YouTube, which is really cool. But yeah, well yeah, it's obvious that it's Windows 10 compatible because it's designed for Windows 10. But yeah, now, I'm not sure how the input and output system is gonna work, because for those who have a 1080p TV or a display but also want to record in 4K, I think the capture card should have the feature to allow the console to be displayed at 4K on the preview, but then I'm not sure how it would output to the TV. I mean, I know how it would output to the TV, but if the TV only goes up to 1080p at maximum, then I'm not sure if it's gonna super sample down or whether it's gonna, transfer or like convert the signal from 4K to 1080p and super sample. That'd be sick if it would do that, because then you won't need any HDMI splitters to do that for you in order to add to the equation. So yeah, that's essentially that, but we'll see. Oh yeah, and also from the reviews that I've been seeing, it comes with this capture card in particular, it comes with two versions of the software. There's the original Elgato game capture software, which you can use, and that only allows you to go up to 1080p at 60 frames per second or 1440p at 60 frames per second at max. And there's a separate device, there's a separate software particularly, specifically for 4K 60 frames per second capture. At the same time, I can sort of understand that, because 4K is a completely different ballgame to 1080p, considering it's 4 times the resolution. But yeah, anyways, besides over here, as you can see, Elgato Game Capture 4K 60 Pro. And yeah, I've been awaiting for this moment. And here it shows like what it actually looks like in the box. Essentially just showing the contents, the 4K 60 Pro and the HDMI cable, which is useful. And I'm liking the design of this box as well, like the way they make it stand out. It looks really sick. But anyways, now to open this up, and yeah, I don't know, and yeah, as for the AverMedia, as like the quote-unquote AverMedia 4K 60 frames per second capture card that I got, they say it's simple, but yeah, it's not as user-friendly, so you can't really get it to work, which is a piss take. But now we actually have an official product from Elgato right here, and it's about time. I mean, if you ask me, Elgato is more like, it's more trustworthy now in terms of products like this, such as capture cards, because then they make the interface nice and simple. When it comes to the software, it's 100% user friendly. It's not, you don't have to, externally find workarounds, because then that's just a whole massive learning curve, which is a real piss take. Oh, and I take it you're gonna have to slide this out. Oh, and doesn't this look sick? This looks amazing. And I'm liking this design with the new Elgato logo over here, along with this sick background. And yeah, everything is just blank over here. And of course there's a warning back here, which you know isn't that important, but let's open this up. Yeah, no, I want to be really careful here. Turns out the scissors helped me with that one. Okay, now that's that part over and done with. That just makes it so much easier. I'm not gonna lie, I like the way they secure it up to ensure that it doesn't get damaged, but then again, it's a piss take to open when you're actually trying to, you know, unbox it. There. Right, let's move this out of the way and actually open this up. It's time to unravel the actual device itself. And here we have it, people. The Elgato Game Capture 4K 60 Pro right here. And this looks amazing in person, I'm not gonna lie. And this makes me like, you know, all the more glad that I actually skipped the HD 60 Pro and went straight for the 4K 60 Pro, which is really sick. Now I can actually replace, you know, that Ava Media capture card that's taking up space in my motherboard with this sick beast of a device right here. And I gotta say, the architecture of it is so much better. The architecture, just the design, the architecture design of it is just so much better, and everything inside is protected. You don't actually have to be careful of where you touch, unless you're touching the ports obviously, or the connectors. But yeah, essentially I'm liking this design right here for the capture card, especially the bottom where they have, you know, their brand new signature Elgato logo with a background over here. It looks really sick. And as shown, you can see the input and output HDMI ports that you connect your console and TV or monitor to. So yeah, effectively you'd plug in your 4K console or device or whatever you want to use into to actually capture footage off into the input HDMI slot, and then output to the display you want to hook this up to through the output HDMI slot, which is essential. And yeah, although one thing that people complain about the brand new Elgato capture cards, which is completely unnecessary to complain about, is that the fact that it quote unquote doesn't have it doesn't have the input connections to capture retro consoles. It doesn't have composite S-video or component. Well, there's a simple solution to that. You can easily get a converter. You can either get like an RGB SCART to HDMI converter, or a component to HDMI converter, or an RCA and S-video to HDMI converter. It's not difficult to do. I mean, yeah, it's gonna cost extra money, but then again, that's completely up to you if you want to capture everything. But you know, I already have that covered myself, so I don't even have to worry about that at all. But yeah, in the end, it's all common sense. It's just general knowledge when it comes to hardware. But yeah, anyways, this is the capture card itself, and as prestigious as it looks, I'm gonna have to put it down for a bit and showcase everything else. Now here we have the HDMI cable that's included with the capture card itself. So yeah, and it's nice how they put the covers to make sure it's safely protected, and yeah, it uses HDMI 2.0 connection, so it's a high-speed HDMI cable that can actually transmit 4K 60 frames per second footage, which is really sick. And they have a mini manual right here. Let's check everything else out. I like how the box is looking, I'm not gonna lie. Looks really sick. And over here I see they have like an Elgato logo right here, which is really sick. You can see a reflection on it. And you can take that out as well. Okay, and over here, hang on, wait, I need to move all this out of the way so then I can actually showcase this properly. There. Hang on, let me just put the webcam up a bit so then I can actually showcase this. There we go. Now over here they're basically showing how it actually works. As I've explained before, the Elgato Game Capture 4K 60 Pro requires the software for you to download, and it gives you the official website in order to download the software from, which is really helpful. As I mentioned before, it connects to your motherboard, and then you can connect either your PS4, your Xbox One, your PS4 Pro or your Xbox One X to the capture card. Although it's funny how they use the original PS4 and the original Xbox One in this diagram when they could have used, when a better example would have been the PS4 Pro and the Xbox One X, since, you know, they both, those are the models that actually, you know, support 4K at 60 frames per second. So obviously those would have been, it would have been a better example for those, but they did what they did, and it's not really a complaint, it's just a minor observation, but aside from that, it does the job anyway, so they're still, at least the product is still making the sale, which is really good. And then over here, yeah, it's just showing the consoles going to the input slot, as I've explained before, and then the output slot, from the output slot to the monitor, as I've explained before as well. And then it just basically shows everything over here on the PC, where you're actually downloading the software, which is really cool. Yeah, and essentially everything else here is just an empty box, so that's pretty much all they've got. I'm not sure if I can get this little badge out right here, if it's even a badge, but I don't know, let me try and get it out. I mean, it seems simple enough to get out. And yeah, I actually got it out. And this looks amazing. Just look at it. Like the Elgato logo itself on this actual badge. You know, it's sick how they actually come. It actually comes with this, since this is the first. I've not seen any previous Elgato game capture device come with something like this. Well, then again, it doesn't surprise me at all, because this is actually the first capture card to use. This is Elgato's first capture card to use this signature logo, so probably they're doing this as like a bonus souvenir collectible or something like that. But anyways, yeah, that's essentially what they got right here. But it's really nice to keep in the collection as well, which I actually like. So yeah, I'm definitely keeping this. But anyways, now to put all this back in, and I can't wait to start testing this out. And yeah, so yeah, people, you shall be expecting, if this goes to plan, if my understanding of how the software works goes to plan, then you guys shall be expecting 4K 60 frames per second PS4 Pro and Xbox One X console captured footage from me. such as playthroughs, let's plays, you name it. This would also be great to use for live streams as well, especially where you're using it through OBS, because with OBS, even though you may not have the internet to live stream at 4K at 60 frames per second, it's still good to live stream at 1080p at 60 frames per second, because it's a decent watchable quality for people who have a fairly decent internet connection, so it hits the target audience quite well at the same time. And the good thing is that you can still play in 4K, from what I've been seeing from reviewers of this capture card. You can still play at 4K while you're live streaming at 1080p at 60 frames per second, because essentially it's still outputting the same signal, but OBS or OBS Studio, of whichever software you want to use, it's using a 1080p canvas, so the resolution will be live streaming at is 1080p at 60 frames per second. And again, you're gonna need like fucking NASA internet connection to live stream at like 4K at 60 frames per second or some shit. At least that. Or you're gonna need like a fucking server farm or some shit. But yeah. Anyways. Yeah, OBS and OBS Studio, whichever live streaming software you plan to use, would, it would interpret, like, depending on whichever setting you use. If you use a 1080p at 60 frames per second live stream, I mean, if you choose to actually, through the Elgato software, and through the console itself, to actually play at 4K at 60 frames per second, but also choose the resolution of 1080p at 60 frames per second through OBS or OBS Studio, whatever live stream software you're using, then essentially you'll be playing the game in 4K at 60 frames per second, while the live streaming software just uses a 1080p at 60 frames per second canvas, which is essential. So essentially you get the best of both. But anyways, people, that's officially this unboxing video wrapped up. So see you lot in. Anyways, people, that's officially this unboxing video coming to an end, and I really hope you enjoyed this. This was actually a really interesting unboxing video to make, and it may or may not be my last unboxing video of 2017, but we'll see. And also, yeah, I've got a recording test to do, so yeah, the sooner I get to that, the better. But then if my understanding of how it works goes to plan, then yeah, an official recording test on my channel shall happen. So yeah, anyways, people, I'm really glad to have finally made this video after waiting a whole month to receive this prestigious capture card right here. Just feels so prestige to own one. And feel free and be sure to subscribe, like or rate, however you want to put it. Drop a comment below to leave feedback, and or share it around with your friends and family, whoever they may be. And see you lot in a brand new upcoming project, whenever it may happen. Laters everyone, peace out.